Oh wait, was I muted? That's why my sound might not be. Hello. Oh, okay. There we go. My audio is okay. It's, hmm. It seems quiet though. Can you guys hear me all right? I need to go to. I need to send this out and then we'll get started here. And I need to see. Yeah, let me just send it to this one too, and then. Hmm. And one more place, and we'll be good to go. I need to mute Discord. All right, that should do it. That should do it. All right, that should do it. Yeah, no, this whole thing kind of seems quiet on my end of the phone. Are you guys able to hear me all right? Yeah, no, this whole thing kind of seems quiet on my end of the phone. Are you guys able to hear me all right? Actually, just give me a minute, guys. This is going to be a rough stream if I don't take my Tums. I need to take some Tums right now. Ugh, sorry about that, guys. I'm back. Ugh. All right, we'll get started here in just a couple seconds. I need to charge this thing. Turn that volume down there. Okay. Oh, that screenshot. Mhm. All right, so hey, let's get started. So, hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to Cryptocast, your source for all things cryptid related, unknown, and paranormal. I'm your host, Parker, and welcome back to another Cryptocast Livestream. This is not center. There we go. And judging by the title, you guys can probably tell we're going to be talking about cryptid plants today and kind of plant related cryptids, um, just for kind of like a good mix in there. So, I don't know. It's going to be a fun stream. Yeah, no, sorry, I did not stream last week. I need to say that now because otherwise I'll forget. I have I tried to stop taking one of my meds, and I had withdrawals from it, and I was just like not up to streaming that day, and I just ended up having to get back on them because it was rough. Um, Guys, yeah, no, just don't stop cold turkey. It was on my sleeping med trazodone, so yeah, no, um, yeah, just don't stop cold turkey when you're taking your pills. It's never a good time. All right, so yeah, we're gonna be talking about cryptid plants today. Um, oh yeah, no. Also, before we get started here as well, I just want to point this out. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Um, I'm just gonna point this out. We're since like I know like a lot of people don't like to stay around for the end of videos. I'm gonna say it at the beginning now. We have social media in the link in the description below. We have two Discords, one for ghosts, one for cryptids. Be sure to check those out. We got Twitter. Excuse me. We also got a Tumblr. Um, that's kind of where I started on Tumblr. So if you want to check out my cryptids, I post cryptids. I try to do those daily on there, so be sure to check that out. You can email me at Gmail, Facebook, Instagram. We got all that good stuff. We have a new forum. We even have a subreddit as well. So please be sure to take a look in the links in the description below to check out all of my good, fun social media. So yeah, no, without further ado, let's talk about some plant cryptids. The elusive marijuana is up first now. All right, so we kind of have a weird one that. Oh, neat, got an Insta follower. Not on the Cryptocast Insta, on my personal one. So let me get this up here. Where is it? QRS. Oh, for some reason this saved under orange goo. I mean, they're not wrong. It is essentially just like orange goo, but yeah, would have been easier to find if it was labeled under what I found it as alien spores. So, the NPR Newser have reported that the enigmatic orange substance that descended on an Alaskan village last week has been identified as the eggs of an unknown animal. And this is just straight from the wiki, so I'm pretty sure someone just copied and pasted a news source. Um, so kind of weird. I don't know why they did that. So this did not happen last week, obviously. A mysterious orange goo that appeared on the shore of a small Alaskan village of Kivalinhas have been identified as millions of microscopic eggs filled with fatty droplets, but researchers claim they still don't know what the eggs might hatch, or if they are toxic. Jeanette Mitchell, city administrator for Kilvalina, had this to say about the goo. It was found several miles inland in the freshwater Wulik River. The orange material turned gooey and gave off a gaseous odor, but scooped out of the ocean, the substance had no odor and was light to the touch, with the feel of baby oil. Hmm. The eggs were also found on at least one roof and in buckets set all over the village to collect rainwater. City Councilwoman Frances Douglas, a 44-year-old native of the village, said the gooey, slimy substance was widely spread in streaks along the Wulik River and the lagoon, which is half a mile wide and 6 miles long. Orangey water was reported from as far away as the village of Buckland, 150 miles southeast of Kilvalina. Yeah, so these eggs, they stretch for over 150 miles, which, if you think about it, that's fucking nuts. But no, what I don't get though, this is under the plants section of the Cryptid wiki. If these are eggs, these really aren't really plants, so I don't know what the fuck they're doing there. But maybe we'll keep reading and we'll see. Douglas remembers temperatures were colder in her childhood, gradually rising over the years. She wonders if climate change might have had something to do with the invasion of the eggs, which she estimated were evident in the village in a volume that was in excess of 1,000 gallons easily. Even though the eggs appeared to have dispatched, Mitchell and other villagers expressed concern about the eggs' effect on her village's food supplies and delicate ecosystem. Yeah, no, this has nothing to do with plants. I have no idea why this is under the plant section. I legit thought these were just. I wanted to read about alien spores. I don't want to read about eggs. I may cover these like in another video at some point, but yeah, no, those were not plants. They were not plants at all. Oh, jeez. So we're gonna talk about the next one that is legitimately a plant. Let me get it. Oh shit, that's massive. We have the cow eating tree. It's a weird name, but it's really kind of neat. In Roy Mackey's book, Searching for Hidden Animals, published in 1980, his last chapter entitled The Monstrous Plants, it was not about cryptozoology, needless to say, but about cryptobotany, being a short treatise on the Victorian accounts of man eating plants. So there's a subsection of cryptozoology called cryptobotany. I just actually found that out just from reading this. I did not know that. I think that's kind of neat, though. As Mackle points out, many zoologists and botanists have been fascinated by plants that eat meat since the days when Charles Darwin was bitten by this interest and wrote a definitive work on the subject, Insectivorous Plants, published in 1888. So, like Venus flytraps, pitcher plants, all that fun stuff. Like McCall, who tells of having acquired several varieties of carnivorous plants after reading about them in Darwin's book, I recall as a young boy buying and successfully raising Venus flytraps after reading about the plants in Willie Lay's Salamanders and Other Wonders. Excuse me. Recently, I've actually thought about getting some more to raise them in this bay window here at the museum. The plants still intrigue me. Nature does have some fine wonders. Anyway, McCall spends his final chapter detailing mostly the reports from the 1850s through the 1940s of the man eating tree of Madagascar, which we will talk about in this video, um, and expeditions that searched unsuccessfully for the species. Little did I imagine that I would run across a new story of a similar nature, but here it is from today from South India, cow eating tree of Padramy, and that's what this is here. Um, I maybe should have got the other picture from it. This one doesn't really look right. It literally looks like people hanging from a tree. I don't want to be shut down like Logan Paul, so I should have got a different picture for that. I mean, at least it's a drawing, though. Uh, right. Mangalore carnivorous trees grabbing humans and cattle and gobbling them up is just is not just village folklore. Residents of Padrame near Kokada in Uppingandi Forest Range cited one such carnivorous tree trying to dine on a cow last Thursday, October 18th, 2007. Yeah, so again, this is not recent news. According to reports, the cow owned by Anad Gowda had been left to graze in the forests. You kind of need a fence to keep your cows safe so they don't wander off. Never good. The cow was suddenly grabbed by the branches and pulled from the ground. The terrified cow herd ran to the village, and I got Gouda and a band of villagers to the carnivorous tree. Before the tree could have its meal, Anad, Gouda, and the villagers struck mortal blows to the branches that turned limp, and the cow was rescued. Up in Agandi Range Forest Officer Subramania Rao said the tree was described as a pilimara, a tiger tree, in native lingo. He had received many complaints about cattle returning home in the evenings without tails. On Friday, the field staff confirmed coming across a similar tree in Padroni, partially felled down. However, no detailed inquiry was made as the authorities were not asked for any report. Rao said cow-eating trees of Padrame, Tuesday, October 23rd, 2007, Express News Service, New Indian Press. So, somewhere deep in the forests of India, there is a tree that eats cows, and it was originally described as the tiger tree. So it eats tigers and other large wildlife and such. So it's a really big tree. It's a really, really big tree. Oh God, I'm kind of getting a little distracted here. I need to stop. But it is a tree, and like I said, it's able to take down large wildlife, and maybe in this case, people. As you can kind of see by this, actually, now that I look at it, really, really morbid picture. But it's kind of cool in a way. All right, who do I want to grab now? Which tree do I want to get? Uh, let's get him. Now this little guy right here, is called the hungry grass, and it's actually a really cool one. So I'm excited to talk about this one. I really like this one. Um, in Irish mythology, hungry grass, also known as fairy grass, is a cursed patch of grass. Anyone walking on it was doomed to perpetual and insatiable hunger and a permanent state of weakness. Harvey suggests that the hungry grass is cursed by the proximity of an unshriven corpse, the fear Gorda, or maybe a leprechaun. William Carlson's stories indeed suggest that fairies plant the hungry grass. According to Harvey, this myth may relate to beliefs formed in the Irish potato famine of the 1840s, actually caused by fungi. In Margaret McDougall's letters, the phrase "hungry grass" is analogy to the myth, used to describe hunger pains. An alternative version of the hungry grass story relates that anyone walking through it is struck by temporary hunger. To safely cross through, one must carry a bit of food to eat along the way, such as a sandwich or several crackers, and some beer. The Irish famine, or Great Hunger, was a disease that made the hungry grass debatable whether or not it was real or just a superstition. People thought the hungry grass just doesn't eat people, it eats crops too. It wasn't always called hungry grass. People thought it was that of a spirit of a man. Wasn't Some people thought that it was a spirit of a man, in fact, eating people. The word fear in Irish, both man and grass, so hungry man came to be because they feared him. It was said that if you give relief to hungry man, you will enjoy unfailing prosperity, even during the worst periods of famine and death. I kind of could use some of that now, I guess, with the whole plague going on. Um, Let me see. Nobody knew what the hungry man looked like, but visitations to Ireland may have given him an appearance After this, Maxwell, who wrote Wild Sports of the West, made an assumption and called this famine hungry disease that was made by fairies or was grown over by a corpse. Hungry grass was eventually what it was really called because certain grass you stepped on made you feel faint or and kill over. This happened to many farmers and fishermen. I don't know what the heck fishermen are doing in the field, but I thought they were supposed to, fish. Someone said that Hungry Hill is where hungry grass has originated from. Actually, sounds kind of neat. The hungry grass of Hungry Hill. We should put a McDonald's on there. Make him not hungry. Um, the first person that ventured on the hill was never seen again. People were afraid to even go by the hill. Nevertheless, someone else eventually got up to go on the hill and lived. A young fisherman that came to Ireland wanted to fish there, and the ocean was behind Hungry Hill. So in the morning, the fisherman forgot to eat breakfast, so he thought he would eat it on the way to the ocean. He brought an apple and a sandwich for lunch. He got the apple out and started eating. As he got to the hill, people started yelling not to go upon that hill, but he didn't listen. As he was climbing, the grass on the hill wiggled almost snake like and wrapped around him. He was still eating, and every time he took a bite, it would fall off of him. When he got to shore, other fishermen told him that the hill was said to kill people. He then put two and two together and came to the conclusion that if you ate while on the grass, you wouldn't fall ill. The fairies were furious and desisted to plant hungry grass everywhere. Some people brought food with them wherever they went. Others were skeptic and eventually fell to their doom. The famine had eventually stopped when people built a wall around Hungry Hill. If the wall was ever to fall, the hungry grass may come back again. So it's this grass in Ireland, and it kind of has some Scottish roots as well. It's really neat, and if you step on it while you're not eating something, the grass will eat you. Now I know in this case it kind of looks like a dandelion. I don't know. I just thought this picture was kind of neat, so kind of represented it. So let me get rid of that. And I don't know what we have next on the list. Let me see. I should have talked about that one. I'll talk about that. I'm thinking about doing another yokai video at some point. Cause I didn't cover a lot in that one, and I'll talk about this in the next one. I was thinking about doing. I completely forgot about the Jin Menju, so I will definitely talk about that one in the next yokai live stream. Um, hmm. Let's see. Oh, we're going to talk about the Lamb of Tartary. And I know what you guys are thinking. Parker, why are we going to be talking about a lamb on a stream about cryptid plants? Um, Let me find that picture of him on here. So the lamb of Tartary is also known as the vegetable lamb, and it's essentially a lamb that grows on a plant. Yay, old world bestiaries were kind of fun. um, So, like I said, it's also called the vegetable lamb. So, the lamb of Tartary, um, or simply vegetable lamb, is a legendary cryptid of Central Asia. It was believed to grow sheep in the same manner that a tree grows fruit, which were connected to the plant by an umbilical cord. So, yeah, the stem was essentially the lamb's umbilical cord. In his book, The Vegetable Lamb of Tartary, Henry Lee describes the legendary lamb as both to be a true animal and a living plant, so it's like a hybrid of both. However, he states that some writers believe the lamb to be the fruit of the plant, sprouting forward from melon-like seeds. So this is how you get sheep in Minecraft. Um, Others, however, believe the lamb to be a living member of the plant that would perish if separated from it. The vegetable lamb was believed to have blood, bones, and flesh like that of a normal lamb. However, later in the 16th century, the lamb of Tartary was believed to have authentic blood, bones, but not true flesh. It was connected to the earth by a stem, similar to an umbilical cord, that propped the lamb up above the ground. The stem could flex downward, allowing the lamb to feed on the grass and plants surrounding it. Once the plants within each were eaten, the lamb died. So pretty much like all the grass and stuff around it, if the lamb kind of get like ate everything that was around it, it would eventually not be able to get food, and it would kind of shrivel up and die. So, which is very kind of sad actually, because sheep are legit one of my favorite animals. So kind of hearing that, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. So yeah, no, it's sad. All right, where was I? I need to find my place again. Where was I? Where was I? Excuse me. No, that is not the Rona, though. I promise. I just had a. Oh god, no! I just had something stuck in my throat, and I had to get that shit out. So I need to find where was I? Where was I? Hold on, let me just check the chat really quick. Pineapple! Oh my god! Hey, how's it going? Yo, I haven't seen you in ages. I haven't talked to you in ages. How's Animal Crossing been for you? I still don't have a Switch, so I haven't been able to play it. But how's it going for Animal Crossing? I need to get me a fucking Switch. Actually, my one friend is planning on selling me his Switch for 200 plus some games, so I'm gonna get a Switch here pretty soon after this whole situation in the world goes away. So, yay me! So, let me see. Now back to where I was. Then, after expiring, the lamb became edible, and its blood supposedly tasted sweet like honey. Its wool was said to be used by the native people of its homeland to make heed cover to make head. Why did I say heed? To make head coverings and other articles of clothing. The only carnivorous animal attracted to the lamb plant other than humans were wolves, which kind of makes sense. A similar creature appears in Jewish folklore called the Yadua. It appeared to be a lamb, but sprouted from a stem rising from the earth. The only way to kill the strange creature was to sever the connection between the lamb and the stem. Therefore, the bones of the Yadua could be used during prophetic ceremonies. In some versions of the tale, the lamb plant is highly aggressive and snatches up any poor soul within reach. These tales of Jewish folklore could be the origin of the Lamb of Tartary. It's possible that the Lamb of Tartary could be based on the Cibotium barometz, a plant whose woolly rhizome, once its leaves are removed and it is turned upside down, resembles a lamb that is attached to the plant. Next, another popular explanation for this cryptid is when Leroy's book, they only knew of wool and not cotton. Wool, they reason, must have come from sheep, so it's possible that this cryptid is just a fan fictional rendition of a cotton plant used to explain the production of cotton in the Middle Ages. It may be eaten by herbivores because it's classified as a plant. Some believe that it would be put with Eulegna in a New Kingdom. And in popular media, the Pokemon Whimsicott, which is the evolution of Cottony, is based on the Lamb of Tartary. In the manga Monsters Musume, Kot and Tun are both portrayed as anthropomorphized baromets, which is that plant that we talked about. And for those of you guys that don't know what Whimsicott here is, Wikipedia provided an image for us. So little fun dude, little fancy man. I like him. So yeah, no, I do like the vegetable lamb tartary. Sheep are one of my favorite animals. This definitely falls on one of my favorite cryptids list. I'm not really a big fan of this drawing of him though. I mean, it's kind of cute, but I mean, it's really kind of what I found. I'm just like, you know what? Last minute, throwing this list together, like essentially last second. I'm like, I gotta get him. I just gotta get this one. It was the nicest one that they had. Where is he? We're gonna talk about another plant creature now. Here he is. Oh shit! Meet the Leshy. Um, so he's sort of like the Guardian of the Forests um in Slavic mythology. So the cool thing about the Leshy is in a way he's kind of like the Lorax of the forest. So I kind of made a picture of him on my Tumblr, which you guys should totally check out. Um, if you search Leshy in my blogs, you should find on my blog you should find it. Um, excuse me. Um, it's a picture of the Lorax that I made to look like the Leshy and said, I am the Leshy and I speak for the trees. I think that's kind of cool. So, maybe I could get that on a t shirt at some point. Maybe make a merch store where you guys can get it at some point when I kind of get a little bit more popular on YouTube, hopefully. So, yeah, we'll see where that goes. We'll see where that goes. Let's see. So the Leshy is a male woodland spirit in Slavic mythology who protects wild animals and forests. There are also Leshanchika, wives of the Leshy, and Leshonki, children of the Leshy. He is a roughly analogous to the woodwoes of Western Europe and the Basajun of the Basque country. That's a mouthful right there. Oh my god. Aleshi usually appears as a tall man, yes, which, but he's able to change his size and form. Change his size. Yeah, he's able to change his size from that of a blade of grass to a large tree. So he can be super small or super big. He has hair and a beard made from grass and vines. Is usually depicted missing a right ear, and sometimes he's depicted with tail, hooves, and horns. But in this one, he has pine cones coming off of him. He has pale skin that contrasts with green, bright eyes. Aleshi has a close bond with the gray wolf and is often seen in the company of bears as well. He is the forest lord and carries a club to express that he is the master of the woods. He has blue blood, which makes his cheeks the flush blue. Um, Legend describes him as having a red scarf and his left shoe on his right foot. He also has no shadow. Leshy protects the animals and birds in the forest and tells them when to migrate. He can shapeshift into many different forms. As a human, he looks like a peasant with glowing eyes, and his shoes are on backwards. A person who befriends a Leshy can learn the secrets of magic. Farmers and shepherds would make pacts with a Leshy to protect their crops and sheep. The Leshy has many tricks, including leading peasants astray, making them sick, or tickling them to death. For all you people out there like tickle fetishes, um, no, I don't want to point at me. So for I'm sure everything's mirrored. It's still weird for me. So for all the people with tickle fetishes, oh, there we go. That's your guy right there. That is your guy. Hey, Throckmorton, how are you? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping out tonight. How are you? Um, Leshy are terribly mischievous beings. They have horrible cries and can imitate voices of people familiar to wanderers and lure them back to their caves where the Leshies will tickle them to death. They also remove signs from their posts. Leshies aren't evil, although they enjoy misguiding humans and kidnapping young women. They are also known to keep grazing cattle from wandering too far into the forest and getting lost. So they have a mean streak at times, but they're mostly nice people. Um, a Leshy handing him their crosses from. Oh wait, hold on. I Sometimes cow herders will make pacts with a Leshy by handing him their crosses from around their necks and sharing communion with him. After Christian church gatherings, these pacts are said to give the cow herders special powers. Huh. So the Leshy's a man of God. Who knew? Who knew? And I'm glad to hear that. And I'm glad to hear that, Throckmorton. All right, now where was I? I lost my place. Sometimes more than one Leshy inhabits a forest, and then they will fight for their territory, knocking down trees and scaring animals. A Leshy is a demon or spirit of the Dictionary Infernal. There, he is a Slavic forest being similar in nature to the Polovic sprites. He protects birds and trees and animals of the forest, and he appears in the shape of a human with blue skin, two great horns, green hair, and a long green beard across his face, carrying a club or whip indicating his mastery of the forest. Should one ever encounter Leshy, one must thwart him immediately by turning all one's clothes inside out and backwards and placing one's shoes on the opposite feet. I feel like that's just mean, honestly. You're just kind of mocking him, like, hey, you guys, hey, Leshy, you got your shoes on the wrong feet. Hey, look at me, I'm a Leshy too. That's kind of mean. All right, so let me get rid of the Leshy here. Thanks for coming out, Leshy. Let's get somebody else up on the screen. Where is it? Where the fuck is it? Now this is kind of cool. I kind of saw this. I'm like, this is neat. We got to talk about this one tonight. The fossilized remains of what may be the earliest known flowering plants were discovered in a slab of stone in northeast China and date back to at least 125 million years. The fossils reveal a species never before seen and was named the Archaefructus sinensis, or ancient fruit from China. This plant has been called the mother of all flowering plants. Um, it apparently thrived in clear, shallow pools and lakes with its flowering seeds extending above the water surface. Oh crap! No, I never introduced this one. This one's called the lotus tree. Based on its appearance and growing habitat, scientists believe that the closest modern day relatives would be the lily and the lotus. In Egypt, two native species of lotus grew, the white lotus and the blue lotus. A third type, the pink lotus, was introduced to Egypt from Persia during the late period. Now we need the yellow lotus so we can have like the whole diamond trifecta, the all four diamonds from Steven Universe. Um, All three species were depicted in Egyptian art, with the pink lotus featured more in work of the Greeks under the reign of Ptolemies. Um, in Egypt, two native species of lotus grew, the white lotus and the blue lotus, and a third type of pink. That just legit just repeated itself. The lotus tree is a plant that occurs in two stories from Greek mythology. In Homer's Odyssey, the lotus tree bore a fruit that caused peasants drowsiness. um, and the only and was the only food of an island on people called the Lotafig, or the Lotus Eaters. When they ate the lotus tree, they would forget their friends and their homes and would lose their desire to return to their native land in favor of living in idleness. Botanical candidates for the lotus tree include the date plum, which is a sub-evergreen tree native to Africa that grows about 25 feet tall, bearing yellowish green flowers, as well as Ziziphus lotus, a plant with an edible fruit closely related to the jujube family native to North Africa and the islands of the Gulf of Gabe, such as Jerba. And this plant was actually in the Bible. Ooh. The lotus tree is also mentioned in the book of Job, chapter 40, verses 21 through 22, verses which refer to a large creature referred to as the behemoth. The passage states he lies under the lotus trees in a covert of reeds and marsh. The lotus tree cover him with their shade. The willows by the brook surround him. So yeah, this is an ancient plant, mentioned in the Bible, mentioned in Greek mythology, mentioned in all this kind of other fun stuff. And yeah, no, this was legit once a really real plant, and it was kind of, and it's cool. It's cool. So I don't know. I just thought that was a neat one, and I kind of wanted to include that. Let me get something else up here on the screen. I think next we are going to go into the M. So we have the man-eating tree of Nubia coming up, and the picture for this one's fucking weird. So we'll take a look. We'll take a look. We are not sponsored by pxlays.com. We're not sponsored by them. Um, the man-eating tree of Nubia, yes, you can tell this picture's clearly been photoshopped, was a carnivorous tree reported by one eyewitness who relayed his story in 1881. Author Phil Robinson, writing in the Under the Punka, 1881, related the tales of his uncle's travels throughout the world. He described a man-eating tree that was to be found in Nubia. In the tale, Robinson's uncle describes the tree, this awful plant that rears its splendid death shade in the central solitude of a Nubian fern in the Nubian fern forest, sickens by its unwholesome humors all vegetation from its immediate vicinity, and feeds upon the wild beasts that, in the terror of the chase or the heat of the noon, seek the thick shelter of its boughs. Upon the birds that, flitting across the open space, come within the charmed circle of its power, or incoherently refresh themselves from the cups of its great waxen flowers, upon even man himself, when an infrequent prey, the savage seeks its asylum in the storm, or turns from the harsh. Uh, yeah, no, so yeah, no, I'm not gonna read that whole thing because it's kind of old English and it doesn't really make sense. So pretty much any creature that goes to lay under this or comes into contact with the tree, it has blood-sucking leaves that entangle it and sucks the blood out of the victim. So that's fun. It's a fun one. It's a fun one. It's kind of like a little vampire plant. Now we have a little kind of fun one here. If you guys are fans of the Harry Potter movie, you may know of the Mandrake. Okay, wait, actually, hold on. Let me see how many we have here. Um, First of all, that we have left, we got one, two, three, four, uh, five, six. Okay, we have eight left. We're making good time, and that's not the one that I wanted. There it is. Oh dear God, that thing's huge. I may post this one on my Cryptid. I'm not sure. But we got a Mandrake. So you guys probably know about this one if you've seen the Harry Potter movies. It's that one plant that you pulled out of the ground and it just screams nonstop. Ah, almost got a Snapchat ad. All right, so let me find the mandrake. All right, let me just see, because I'm pretty sure I skipped some of these. I think I may have skipped one at some point. Well, we'll have to find it on here at some point because I skipped one. And I'm not sure where it is on this list, but hey, we'll find it. So let's talk about the mandrake. The mandrake is a legendary plant from the Bible. I did not know that. I didn't know that was from the Bible, actually. Shows how good of a Catholic I was back in the day. And its roots are supposed to resemble a human. According to the legends, when the root is dug up, it screams and kills all who hear it. Literature includes complex directions for harvesting mandrake root in a relatively safe way. Josephus from Jerusalem gave instructions on the safe removal of a mandrake as follows. A furrow must be dug around the root until its lower part is exposed. Then a dog is tied to it, after which the person tying the dog must get away. The dog then endeavors to follow him and so easily pulls up the root but dies suddenly instead of his master. After this, the root can be handled without fear. Nowadays, we have like those noise canceling earphones, so it's really not a big deal. You don't have to sacrifice a dog to dig up a mandrake. The plant has been mentioned and used briefly in the book Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. So yeah, it's a really cool kind of neat plant, and I'm like, I can't have a plant stream without including the mandrake. Where is this one? I have a picture saved for one and I skipped it. Now I can't find it on the list. It's not under P where I thought it would be. P. All right, so we have another one. This one is from the bestiaries in China. We already got. I may have to, I might try to do a live stream. I may make a gaming channel at some point as well when I'm thinking about it. I need to go back to D. Oh, it was V. Never mind. I know where to find him now. I was looking in the wrong spot. We'll get to him though. Oh, that's kind of neat. That's actually a really good size too. Let me just check the chat. All right, hold on. I'm just gonna insert. Okay, there we go. My bad, guys. Sorry, I just had a. That was kind of an important text I had to just answer really quick. My apologies. So this is called the Pengu. and it's a tree spirit from Chinese folklore. It is described in an old book called the Soshenji, in English, The Search of the Supernatural. The Penghu in the Kampor tree is the time of the first ruler Wu Lu Shu was the grand protector of Qin An commandery. Once he dispatched a man to cut down the great camphor tree, few strokes of the axe had fallen before blood suddenly flowed from the trunk. When it finally fell, a creature with the face of a man and the body of a dog came forth. Ching Shu explained, "It's the Lorax. It's the Lorax. It's the fucking Lorax." Ching Shu explained, "This is what was known as the Peng Hu." Um, he had he had stemmed forth he had steamed forth with and ate it. He had it steamed and ate it. Its flavor was the same as dog meat. Oh yeah, no, I guess yeah, I guess they do. The Paozi Tu says the spirit of the tree is called the Pang Hu. It appears much like a black dog with no tail and can be steamed and eaten. The long lost tome of the Baizi, the Penghu read Japanese as Hoko, was included in the Konjeku Hyakushui, one of Toriyama Senkin's collections of monster illustrations. Sekin gave the name description as a shosenji, as well as having it living in the 1,000-year-old tree. So that's kind of neat. I don't know if I'd eat just a random human-headed dog that I found inside the base of a tree. That's kind of not. That doesn't seem healthy. That seems like I like that's like wanting to. That seems like I catch some sort of disease or something. But I mean, hey, um, kind of kind of fun, I guess, if you're into that. All right, now we kind of have a cool one. This was one I was really looking forward to talking about. Yeah, no, sorry, my hair's a mess. I went on a walk earlier. There we go. That's super tiny. Let me make him a little bigger. There we go. The Rashanvik is a magical herb in South Slavic um, folklore. According to the folklore, the Rasonvik has a magical property to unlock or uncover anything that is locked or closed. However, legends claim that it is notoriously difficult to recognize the herb, and reputedly only certain chthonic animals are able to identify it. There are three types of Rashunvik: Sladinsky, May, and Ordinary Rashanvik. The stem is spindle shaped, longitudinally grooved, hollow, and branches are green in color. The height is 60 to 100 centimeters. According to legends, the Rashanvik could unlock any gate or padlock, regardless of its size, material, or key. It could also uncover treasures buried in the ground. In Bulgarian beliefs, it could split the ground at the place where the treasure lay so that people could locate it. In Bulgarian sources, the Raskonvik is sometimes described as a grass resembling a four-leaf clover. It grows in meadows and may be picked either while green or blooming or in hay when it is already dry. While it is not necessarily rare, nor does it thrive only in remote locations, it is nevertheless impossible to recognize by the uninitiated. According to Bulgarian mythology and some other traditions, tortoises were the only beings who knew the appearance of the herb and the location where it grows. In Serbia, one would also have to be quick to take the Rashonvik, as a hedgehog would swallow it after use. In any case, turtles, snakes, and hedgehogs are all animals with chthonic characteristics, which are often associated with the underworld in South Slavic tradition. It is probably an herb that has medical properties and uses that were mistaken as magic. While the tricking of a tortoise was the most popular method in Bulgarian mythology, in Dalmatia, which is now known as Croatia, the legend refers to the snakes and among the Serbs. Another version involves the locking of young hedgehogs in a box for their mother to unlock. In Serbia, one would also have to be quick to take the ration Vic as a hedgehog would swallow it after use. In any case, turtles, snakes, and hedgehogs were all animals with chthonic characteristics which were often variously associated with the underworld in South Slavic tradition. So if you guys want to find this plant that can unlock anything and find buried treasure, you need to get yourself a pet hedgehog, tortoise, or snake. And if you already have one of those, well, you're already halfway there to finding it then. The squash oliger is next. All right. This one's kind of fun. I'm excited for this one. I really, really like this one. This is we're getting into a lumberjack creature now. Okay, that's kind of a shit. Yeah, if I move it over here, nobody can see it. Oh, maybe if I put it like on my arm, like a tattoo in this. Yo, that would actually make a really nice tattoo. But no, I'll just kind of move it right here so you guys can kind of see it better. It's a transparent picture. I didn't know it would look like that on there, but it does. Okay, I'm gonna lay down just so you guys can kind of see this one better. Um, the squash oliger is a fearsome critter which is said to be a special variety of squash. They grow just like any other squash on vines, only heaps larger. As they ripen, their eyes and legs come out of their mouth come out and their mouths open. Um, and just before they're ready to walk, a piece of the vine turns into a tail, and then they go away. Their green color helps them hide in the underbrush. They stay around the place that they were born and live on bugs and insects, so you see they're a considerable help. In some Romanian mythology, um, it is said that a pumpkin or watermelon that doesn't rot within a month of its ripening will become a vampire, either growing a mouth and teeth or using its vine like a proboscis. So yeah, this kind of cool little dude, he's from Lumberjack and mythology. Yeah, no, I do love the squash alligator too. He's super fucking neat. Um, yeah, he's essentially just a walking gourd, and I think that's the coolest fucking shit. Thundercat drum. Oh, a record. Ooh, records. My friend just Snapchatted me some records. Ooh, those are trippy records. My friend just sent me some really trippy records, picture trippy records. But yeah, no, I did a stream about lumberjacks at one point. I didn't. Oh, I did not realize you guys are getting a view of my legs there. Um, but yeah, no, I did a stream about lumberjack cryptids at one point. I may have to do another one about them because I didn't cover all of them, and I think it would be kind of cool to revisit them because some of those things are fucking wild, man. I fucking love them. Now, who is up next on my cryptid list that I want to talk about? I need to go back to D on this list because I. What? No, I don't. No, I don't. Where the fuck is this thing? Oh my god. I thought it was under. We'll find it. We'll find it. We're gonna talk about the Veggie Man. Here he is. I think that might just be a drawing of a mandrake. I'm not sure. West Virginia has played host to an extraordinary number of unusual creatures. They range from the widely known Mothman of Point Pleasant to the Flatwoods Monster in Braxton County. Few, however, even within the state itself, have heard of the strange case of West Virginia's own Vegetable Man. And I have not either. The vegetable man was said to be very tall, arguably over 7 feet. Um, he was thin with a semi-human shape. It also appeared to be partially a plant-based life form and possessed large ears with striking eyes that oscillated in colors, going from red to yellow rapidly. Its arms were thin and gave the impression of reeds by a riverbank. On the ends of its long fingers were suction cups which had thorns protruding from them. In 1968, in the woods around Fairmont, West Virginia, Jennings Frederick was out for a hunt. As he moved through the woods in the search of game, Frederick heard an odd noise. It sounded like a record player running faster than it should, a sort of high pitched jabbering. When he tracked down the source of the sound, he came face to face with the Veggie Man. Jennings would go on to say that the being looked weakened and sickly. The jabbering increased suddenly, and he could make out the words. So it was, and it said hints at telepathic communication. So the Veggie Man was telepathically communicating them. And the Veggie Man said, "You need not fear me. I wish to communicate. I come as a friend. We know of you all. We know of you all. I come in peace. I wish medical assistance. I need your help." With that, the creature lunged at him and wrapped Frederick up in its surprisingly strong arms. Frederick was unable to break away from the embrace as the creature pierced his skin um, with the thorns on his fingernails. While it drained the blood from him, Frederick found himself enthralled by flashing colors of the creature's eyes. Then, almost as quickly as it pounced, the vegetable man raced away up a hill. Frederick then claimed to hear deep hummings from the other side of the hill. He surmised that might have been the sound of the creature's ship taking off. Implies that the monster was of extraterrestrial origin. The date To date, the 1968 encounter is the only sighting of the Vegetable Man. But yeah, no, this dude, honestly, in all my years of doing cryptozoology and like studying cryptids and all that fun stuff, I have to say, I have never heard of the Veggie Man. And that's kind of wild, honestly. All right, we got like a couple more left. Let me see how many we have now. We got did that. We got one, two. We got three left. So we have the weeping date palm. The weeping date palm is a jinn, an oracular tree in Islamic lore. It was believed to have relentlessly wept until the Prophet Muhammad comforted it. Unlike most plants or trees, it can actually get depressed. I know what I'm gonna cosplay now. Because I guess what? I'm always depressed. Hey, the Prophet Muhammad. They have Muhammad spelled two different ways on this, and it's confusing. The Prophet Muhammad, when delivering his sermons, used to stand or lean on a date palm tree. When a pulpit was built elsewhere and Muhammad started to give his sermon from the pulpit, the tree began to cry like a child. Muhammad then descended from his pulpit and consoled the tree by embracing it and stroking it. The Prophet said it was crying for missing what it used to hear of religious knowledge given to it. This incident in record is in the authentic Islamic hadith traditions and said it has to have been witnessed by everyone present at the congregation. So this tree cried because it missed Muhammad. That's actually kind of really sad. Okay, I need to find this one on the list now before we move on. It's like this. I need a. Where is it? This is gonna bother me. It's like a little kind of mushroom person. I want to talk about this one first before I get to the one that my first ever cryptid plant that I heard about of. I gotta find it. It's like a this is the one I'm talking about next. It's a little mushroom person, and I'm having the hardest fucking time finding its article on this wiki. No, no, no. Okay, there we go. It was where it should not have been. Okay. This is a long article. I'm not going to read this all because time's sake and everything. Uh, that's a massive picture. We have the I have scrolled up to see it. The Sumski Dekli, or Forest Girls, also known as forest maids and woodland lasses, are wild women of Croatia that were observed prior to World War One. They are covered with reddish or black hair, except for the face, square elf-like head, and long, strong arms. They are described a little shorter than humans, even though they are much stronger with long arms and legs. They never speak with humans, but they can be heard shrieking and screaming in the woods, probably the way of vocal gesture communication. Their sightings stopped after World War One. If Sumski decale really existed, the whole species could accidentally be wiped out by the war. Sumski decale, um, that's a book about them. Shrieks and screams sometimes visit houses or stables in search of warmth and food. Said to harvest grain, bake bread, and catch fish. Able to breed with humans. They lived in woodlands. Significant sightings. Let's see. One was found like kind of in a stable. Um, and then the rest, these are just kind of sightings about it, but I just kind of really wanted to describe the creature itself. I think it's kind of cool. I do kind of like this one. It's a little mushroom person in Croatian folklore, and I don't know. I think it's neat. I think it's neat. All right, guys, and now this is the first cryptid plant that I've ever heard about that we're going to be talking about right now. Um, it's called the Yate View, and there we go. Let's get back to that person. Okay. The Yate View is a famous carnivorous tree found in South America with a more famous African cousin. Um, the Yate View plant is said to catch and consume large insects, but also attempts to consume humans. The Yate View is a carnivorous plant that grows in parts of Central and South America with cousins in Africa and on shores of the Indian Ocean. There are many different descriptions of the plant, but most reports say it has a short, thick trunk and long tendril-like appendages which are used to catch prey. Some even claim it has an eye to locate its prey with. And the name Yataviu means "I see you." The natives feared it as it had bad omens and was thought to be the work of an evil witch. Um, in 1881, intrepid explorer Carl Leach told the tale of a terrible tree, the Yatevu, that would feast upon the Madoko tribe of Madagascar. The German gave a gruesome account of his encounter as the plant slobbered on a fairly slender, delicate palpi with the fury-starved serpents quivered a moment overhead. Then, as if instinct with demonic intelligence, fastened upon her in sudden coils round her neck and arms. Then, then, while her awful screams and yet more awful laughter rose wildly to be more instantly strangled down again into a gurgling moan. The tendrils, one after the other, like great green serpents with brutal energy and infernal rapidity, rose, retracted themselves, and wrapped her about in fold after fold, ever tightening with cruel swiftness and savage tenacity. Anacondas, tenacity of anacondas fastening around their prey. And that is essentially the Yateviu tree. It has like its tendrils that wrap around its prey and just sort of strangles them, like it said, almost like an anaconda. And this was the first cryptid plant that I heard about, and I think I think it's a really cool one. It's really kind of unique, and but it's super duper violent, which in the cryptid world, that's not that hard to find. So that was the last cryptid plant that we will be talking about tonight. Um, so if you guys like this video, be sure that like button. You can dislike it if you dislike it. I heard if you dislike this video, the Yate View tree, its tendrils will come through your window in your night and tickle your toes. If you don't want the Yate View tree to tickle your toes, the only way to ward them off is to hit that like button. Also, guys, if you're new, consider hitting that subscribe button and become a member of the Crypto Crew today. That actually really means a lot to me if you do, and I appreciate it greatly. Um, yeah, check out all my links to my social media in the description below. We got Discords, one for cryptids, one for ghosts. Again, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit in a new form as well. So be sure to check those out as well. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing for my stream next week, but we'll think of something. Maybe I can get my one friend on here. We're going to talk about like tarot cards and stuff. So I think that'll be kind of fun. So it's all in the works. So we'll see what happens there. So yep. Shout out to people that came out today. Royal Pineapple, Throckmorton. Thank you guys so much for coming out today. So yeah, no, thank you guys again so much. Be safe with everything going on in the world out there. You've been watching a Cryptocast live stream. I've been your host, Parker. Stay spooky, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Thank you all.